You heard him. Honey, honey, honey. He doesn't want her to talk. He's trying to suppress what she's going to say. And we'll get to that. Look at this. This is Dr. Peter Grossman, who's in charge of everything, signs all the tax returns. Listen to this.
And when was the P&R Grossman Family Trust created?
I don't know.
So you're going to hear P&R. I would think that would mean Peter and Rebecca Trust. Let's see what he knew about it.
You know who the beneficiaries are of the Jeffrey Grossman Trust?
I would imagine it's Jeffrey Grossman, but I don't know that for sure.
Are you or Rebecca Grossman beneficiaries of the Jeffrey Grossman Trust?
To my knowledge, no, but I don't know the answer to that.
To my knowledge, no, but I don't know the answer to that. Look at this.
Was the family trust ever established?
I can't recall.
Do you have a family trust today?
I do not have knowledge of what the trust is. I know I have a trust for my children. I cannot believe I have a trust for Rebecca, but I'm not sure as I sit here right now.
The trust for your children, what's it called?
I don't know.
When was it created?
I don't know.
We'll look at the children's trust when we talk about all the properties, in a few moments.
Okay.
Right. But whether, sitting here today is your testimony, there is no family trust?
I don't know.
You purchased this property. What money did you use to purchase this property? The 1410 Buckhead Drive property.
I don't recall.
Was it community property?
I don't believe so, but I don't recall.
What causes you not to know that?
I don't know.
Right. So it may be community property, right?
No, I don't think so. I just don't recall.
I don't think so, but I don't recall.
So if you were if you were the original owner on the title for the 1410 Buckhead Drive property, did you sign some documents for this quitclaim deed over to the Richard Grossman Grandchildren's Trust?
I believe I did, yes.
And why did you do that?
So any advice on that would have come from counsel.
Did the Richard Grossman Grandchildren's Trust pay you any sums for the quitclaim deed to the 1410 Buckhead Drive property?
No,
Did you execute a quitclaim deed for the Buckhead Drive property to evade creditors?
See that smile? I mean, can you believe that? Did you see that smirk on his face when he was asked, did you do that to evade creditors? And what he did was he took $1 million, we don't know where, bought a house in Georgia, transferred to a trust for no money for his kids. And he smiles when asked whether he's trying to evade people that are going to be creditors.
Sustained.
This is his demeanor. You assess it.
Sustained.
He's coming here tomorrow. We're going to get him on the stand. We're going to question him.
Jeffrey Grossman, your brother,
yes, he is.
did he lend you $1 million
It was money lent from his trust.
to you?
The exact amount of those personal finances, I think, are private for me.
Well, my concern is that this is Rebecca Grossman's debt as well. So was that to who or what entity was the $1 million paid?
As I say here, I don't know how it was all dispersed.
Okay. Was $1 million transferred to an account that had your name on it?
I don't recall the specifics of it.
What are the terms of the loan?
I do not know.
Have you paid back your brother any of the $1 million?
To my knowledge, no.
Is he charging you any interest?
I'm not sure what the documents say.
Did you sign any documents relating to the $1 million loan?
I don't have a recollection of that.
So we're going to have to unwind all this. It's going to take a little while. And Here's some more for Dr. Grossman.
What account of the mortgage payments been made since 2020, September?
I don't know. It's somewhere, one of the accounts within our office.
And so your office pays the mortgage?
Within the office, the people who handle the finances in the office pay the mortgage.
And you're gonna hear that there's a number of these entities, there's plastic surgery entities, burn center entities, medical corporation entities, and all this finances is run through the business. You're gonna hear witnesses are gonna come testify about that. And this has been going on at least, that we know, at least 2014. Paying for key man insurance, all kinds of things are being paid out of the business.
What is the Grossman JT Revocable Trust? That was something you haven't disclosed until today. What is that?
It's Grossman JT Revocable Trust?
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, do you have retirement accounts?
I have a personal retirement account.
And who's that with?
I believe it's currently with American Funds.
Okay, you didn't produce any documents related to that, right?
That's my private, I believe you, to my knowledge, and you correct me if I'm wrong, sir, that you asked for,
Dr. Grossman, he just asked you if you produced them.
no, I did not.
Let's talk about Mr. Erickson a little bit. By the way, Ms. Grossman, another thing you're gonna see that you didn't see in the trial, you did see testimony of CHP Officer Leffler. I don't know if you remember, she was traveling down the freeway about a high rate of speed. I think he estimated 90 something. He wrote her up less so she could go to traffic school. And what you didn't hear is what she said to him. He wrote the ticket, gave it to her, and she said to him, I hope you never have to go to the Grossman Burn Center. And you'll hear his testimony, and he kept notes because he knew something was going to happen years before. And when this happened, he contacted the authorities to say, hey, I got information about this one. So you're going to hear that about the reprehensibility of her conduct. Did it before, knew it was a problem, continued to do it. Now, Mr. Erickson. Mr. Erickson, we know all this. I don't have to go through cold plating, perjury, suppressing evidence, lying to the police, threatening Alexis Grossman, presenting the wrong view. I still cannot get over that. But anyway, the dangers, they all knew about these problems. This is the prior ticket. You know about the driving school. She's got her racing gear on. But this, I'm not trying to go back over it, but this goes to the issue of reprehensibility of the conduct. Reprehensible means if you knew about it, you continue to do it, and how bad is the conduct. So that's what you're going to be assessing for punishment and deterring others. And of course, Dr. Grossman admits she knows the problem. She knew all about it. Scott Erickson knew about it.
So you would agree that the volitional act of traveling 73 to 80 miles an hour in an area that's frequented by pedestrians, walkers, families, dogs, to do that after consuming alcohol would be in conscious disregard of the rights and safety of pedestrians?
Same objection.
Over.
Yes.
He knows it should be punitives on him. And what he's going to come in here and tell you is he doesn't have much money. That he has a pension, he has a house in Las Vegas, he has some money. So he's going to come in and say he has no money. But we're going to get to that. So you'll have to assess that on how much money he gets.
You would agree that if someone was drinking and racing another car, that would be in conscious disregard of the rights and safety of pedestrians, correct?
Yes.
I don't need to keep playing all this, Erickson. I'm tired of seeing it. I know you must be. So what I'm going to tell you to summarize is we're going to call witnesses from his business. We're going to call accountants. We're going to get tax returns. And we're going to put all that evidence on. Then we're going to have Mr. Erickson's going to come back briefly. And Peter Grossman's gonna come, and we're gonna go through all of this with him. And he's gonna probably be the longest witness, because all the documents and the all are what he's involved. So you're gonna hear from him probably the longest, and then the evidence will be over, and then there'll just be another final. So that'll be what happens. So I thank you for your time.
Good morning, everyone. So we respect your work. We know you guys all worked hard, and you've now answered the first questions that were given to you by the court. And now the court has given you a more narrow question in this phase. It's not a second phase on liability, and I'm not going to go back through, pardon me, I'm not going to go back through all the evidence. You've already heard it. You saw it. We've been here several weeks. The loss has already been addressed in your verdict. The question that you're going to be deciding in this part of the case is whether additional amounts of money are necessary to punish Ms. Grossman's conduct. This phase is not against Dr. Grossman. This is for Rebecca Grossman's conduct. And as the court has instructed you, there is no fixed formula. This is for you to decide whether or not you think there is a requirement that you need to award more damages and what that amount would be. The amount must be reasonable, proportional, and it needs to be based on the evidence. You're going to hear evidence about Ms. Grossman's financial condition. And this is not about Dr. Grossman's financial condition. You will hear evidence of what is owned and what is in the finances of Mrs. Grossman. The other thing that's important that I want to point out is that punitive damages are decided separately for each defendant. Rebecca Grossman's, whatever you find, if you find that there's a need for more punitive damages, you should separate the conduct of Mrs. Grossman from Scott Erickson. You should not mingle the two. And also, it's important to point out that this is only as to Kareem's claim as a successor in interest to Jacob.
No.
You're going to hear some evidence about Mrs. Grossman's employment history and her ability to work. The evidence will show that she has not earned income for many years since this accident and prior to this accident. The evidence will show that Ms. Grossman, in the years prior to the accident, was doing charity work. She was not being paid for work that she did with Afghanistan children and people who had been suffering burn injuries there. And again, punitive damages are not automatic. They're not supposed to be more than is necessary. You will hear evidence about transfers of property, and you will hear that the transfers of those property were done lawfully with advice of counsel as well. And that's all I'm going to say at this point. I'm not going to talk about all the evidence again. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. Anybody want to switch places with me today?
That's totally
So-
improper.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Move to strike.
yeah, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen,
stricken.
Good morning. Before anything else, I want to speak to the Iskander team, plainly and respectfully, because they've suffered an immeasurable loss.
It's irrelevant to this phase of the trial.
It's arguments, sustained, stricken.
Okay. On behalf of my client, we acknowledge the jury's prior finding. And we express genuine remorse for the harm that has occurred. We accept your verdict on liability and on the finding that the conduct involved malice, oppression, or fraud, and will not argue those determinations. We're here for a different task today. The phase is limited in scope. Your role now is not to decide what happened or whether my client is responsible. That's already been decided. Your role is to determine the amount of punitive damages, if any, that serves the law's purpose of punishment and deterrence, not vengeance, not anger, and not to compensate for the loss. The law draws an important line here. Punitive damages are not a second form of compensatory damages. They're measured sanction designed to communicate a message that wrongful conduct will not be tolerated and should not be repeated. As you undertake this difficult responsibility, the law asks you to be guided by proportionality and reasonableness. The amount must be fair, just, and no more than necessary to achieve its purpose. It must bear a reasonable relationship to the harm and to the defendant's conduct and circumstances. As His Honor has instructed you already, you have to decide now the amount, if any, that you should award the plaintiffs in punitive damages. There's no fixed formula for this, and you're not required to award any punitive damages. No amount of money are ever going to replace the children. We recognize that. The jury has already acknowledged that in phase one of this case. So some of the important things that you'll need to consider as you get to this phase and assess whether or not punitive damages are appropriate against my client involves his ability to pay, because that's part of the instruction. So you can see that the jury's already awarded a compensatory verdict of $176 million. That's a joint verdict against both defendants. You'll see that my client, the evidence that you'll be presented by tomorrow, is he has $9,000 in his bank account. He has $242,000 in an investment account. He has $804,000 in a baseball retirement pension account that he is able to access in his early 60s. And he owns a condo in Las Vegas that has approximately $100,000 in equity in it. You're also going to hear that his income is about $13,000 a month through the baseball pension. That's my client's financial capabilities that you'll hear from testimony tomorrow. And so the question will become what you believe he has the ability to pay when you take into account the other factors that Mr. Panish talked about. And so eventually tomorrow, once we close, all we'll ask you to do is please be reasonable in your evaluation of what you choose to do. If you choose to send a message, we simply ask that the message be sent, taking into account his ability to pay not only a punitive amount, but the compensatory verdict already rendered. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take our morning break. Can I talk about case amongst yourselves with anyone else? Try to keep it right.
Yes, Mr. Earl.
Your Honor, thank you. The plaintiff's called Lenny Esmond.
Please approach the witness stand or remain standing. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Please be seated. Name you can state and spell your name for the record, please.
Leonard, or Lenny, Leonard, Esmond, Esmond.
We're gonna adjust you just a little bit and speak into the mic, but not over it. Please proceed.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
All right, what do you do for a living?
I'm a CPA, certified public accountant.
And what is a certified public accountant?
Primarily prepare tax returns, provide tax advice, tax compliance, work with clients on some financial matters.
For how long have you been a CPA?
Been a CPA for almost 40 years.
Do me a favor, pull the base of that microphone just toward you.
Let's talk about your background, training, experience. Where'd you go to undergrad?
I went to UCLA,
And your degree in what?
economics.
And you have a graduate degree.
I do not.
And do you currently own your own firm?
I do.
What's it called?
Esmond and Associates, Inc.
And how many accountants do you have at that firm?
Approximately 20.
All right, we're having difficulty hearing you.
Okay. Is that better?
I can hear you, but sometimes we have challenges with the microphone. So if we could just project, that would be
Okay.
great. Okay. All right. So your firm, how long have you owned your current firm?
For 20 years, since 2005.
To become a CPA, do you have to have a license?
Yes, I do.
How do you earn or obtain that license?
Through experience and a certified public accountant exam that I took.
Do you have to periodically renew that license?
I do every 2 years.
And it's still current today?
It is.
Do you have to, as part of being a CPA, have to take any ongoing educational courses?
Yes, I do.
About how often do you have to do that?
Approximately 40 hours a year.
And you've done that every year that since you've been a CPA?
Yes, I have.
Were Peter and Rebecca Grossman your clients?
Yes, they were.
For what years?
From 2015 through 2025.
And were they your clients individually?
Yes.
Did the Grossmans ever ask you to do any tax work for any business entities that they were affiliated with?
Yes, they did.
And for the same time frame?
Yes.
And in terms of tax preparation, did you ever perform tax services personally for the Grossmans?
Yes, we did.
Can you describe what your services were for the Grossmans personally?
Sure. We prepared their annual IRS and state personal income tax returns.
Did you ever provide them any, financial planning?
No financial planning, no.
Did you ever do any forensic accounting of any kind for them?
No.
So it sounds like with respect to them personally, your work was just limited to preparing and filing their personal tax returns?
That's correct.
How about with respect to the business entities that they were affiliated with? What was your role with those entities?
We prepared the tax returns for the business entities, and we also provided on a limited basis.
We'll even close.
Okay.
We're gonna make you a rapper.
Okay. You guys a try?
Too close.
Too close.
How
about now?
Just bend the neck.
Okay. That sound okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. With respect to the business entities that the Grossmans were affiliated with, can you describe the services you gave to those entities?
We prepared the income tax returns for those entities as well. And we provided on a limited basis some bookkeeping type of assistance to their controller that they had at the time.
The controller that they had at the time, do you remember that individual's identity?
During most of the time, it was Roy Pasco.
Other than Mr. Pasco, does the name Alan Bramson sound familiar at all?
I know the name, but I had very limited dealings with him.
In terms of names you do know, Mr. Pasco, that's what it's limited to.
Yes.
And in terms of bookkeeping assistance, can you generally give us a sense of what you mean by that?
Roy may have had questions about how to record certain transactions, how to, may have needed some assistance with his bookkeeping system, and one of the people in my office would have helped him with that. Not something that I did personally.
All right. Did you, with respect to your interactions and work with Mr. Pasco, did you rely on him to give to you information that was accurate and reliable?
Yes,
Because you need information that's accurate and reliable in order to complete tax returns that are accurate and reliable. Is that a fair statement?
that's correct.
And sir, you're here today pursuant to a subpoena.
That's right.
And did you at all speak with Peter or Rebecca Grossman about the subpoena?
No, I have not.
Did you speak with them about any of the documents that you produced in response to the subpoena?
No.
How about with respect to, and I know you have a lawyer, I don't want to ask you about that, so forget that. Did you speak to any other lawyers other than me this morning concerning your testimony today?
No, I did not.
All right. With respect to the Grossmans personally, when a client comes to you and asks for your assistance to prepare and file tax returns, what kind of documents do you ask them to give to you so you can do your work?
So we would need the business records from them to do the business tax returns. For the individual tax returns, we would need forms like 1099 forms from banks or investment accounts. We would need information on other deductible expenses that they may have paid. And so we would ask for those types of records, their W-2s, if they have those.
So documents that reflect some type of income, either through work, investments, interest.
Correct.
And then you also mentioned documents relating to potential deductions like charitable contributions, things of that nature.
That's correct.
And are those in the industry referred to as working papers?
Well, we put them together and we create a set of work papers to support the information that goes into the tax return that we prepare.
Now, when you're doing that as a CPA, do you have any duty or obligation to, verify the records that they're giving to you? In other words, you get a W-2. Do you as a CPA have to say, well, let me double check these numbers or something to that effect?
We don't. Only the requirement is only to investigate it further if there's some reason we think it may not be accurate.
And can you just give us an example of when a situation like that could arise?
Objection made.
Over. Maybe some document that's doesn't come through clearly and you cannot read the numbers. You need some other verification of what's on it. Could be a situation or something that's not consistent with prior years' information or other information that you may know about the client.
All right. With respect to the documents that you produced in response to our subpoena, they related to certain tax returns of Peter and Rebecca Grossman. Is that correct?
That's right.
From what years do you recall?
The 21 through 2024 tax years.
And when you were preparing the tax returns and getting ready to file them, were Peter and Rebecca Grossman required to sign them?
They were required to be electronically signed.
And what's the purpose or requirement? Strike that. Why? Why do your clients need to sign their own tax returns?
Because ultimately they're responsible for the information in the tax return. And in order for us to electronically file them with the IRS and the state tax agencies, we have to have back from them a form confirming that they've signed and authorized us to file them.
How about with respect to you, when you prepare a tax return, do you have to sign it?
I do.
And why?
It's a requirement of the IRS for the paid tax preparer to sign the tax return.
So fair statement that fair statement that the requirement that the client sign the tax return and you sign the tax return if you prepare it is to verify its accuracy and reliability.
That's accurate.
And I can't remember if you told me, forgive me, but did you assist the Grossmans personally with respect to any tax planning?
With respect to the business entities and there's tax planning that goes on with the business entities.
Okay. And, but, so I'm going to talk about the business entities. For them personally, did you do any separate tax planning for them?
I think it's all interrelated with a situation where you have an owner that's primarily 100% owner of the businesses and their personal tax return. It's all done together.
In other words, it sounds like what you're describing is, to the extent the Grossmans were the owners of certain businesses for returns that you were preparing and filing, that tax preparation and tax planning services, they interrelated because it's the individual, the Grossmans, the individuals, and then the businesses that they're related to.
Right, correct.
All right. With respect to the tax planning that you did for the business entities, the Grossman business entities, can you describe generally what that involved?
It would involve looking primarily it would involve getting information from the controller near the end of the year, within the December timeframe. So looking to see what the income is, determining what their potential tax liabilities are, presenting them with any tax planning opportunities that might exist for them that we are aware of, and having that ongoing discussion during that year-end tax planning period.
And would you typically do that every year that you were the CPA for the Grossmans?
Yes.
And those business entities, I'll give you a list. I mean, you can tell me if these are familiar to you, okay? Grossman Burn Center LLC, is that one of them?
Yes.
What is that?
Without looking at the records
Objection,
further,
Wax Foundation?
without looking at the records further, I'm not sure I couldn't differentiate up here exactly what each entity did.
And okay, so let me just go through the entities. Is another entity the Grossman Medical Group, Inc.?
Yes.
Another entity, is it the Grossman Surgery, S-U-R-G-I, Center, Inc.?
Yes.
Is another entity the Grossman Plastic Surgery, Inc.?
Yes.
And another entity, the Grossman Burn Center, Kansas City, Inc.?
Yes.
Are those S corps?
I believe that most of them are S corporations. My recollection of one is treated as a partnership.
And is there, to your knowledge, is there another Grossman business entity that's headquartered or located in Dallas?
I believe, I don't know about that. That might be subsequent to my knowledge.
In other words,
engagement.
that entity, if it exists, postdated your involvement with the Grossmans?
Correct.
So I take it, was it 2024 that you stopped being their CPA?
We stopped in 2025 after preparing the 2024 tax returns.
All right. So with respect to any returns relating to tax year 2025, that's beyond your bailiwick?
Correct.
Okay. All right. S corps, what is that?
An S corporation is a type of business entity that is formed as a corporation and makes what's known as an S corporation election to be taxed, treated as an S corporation for IRS and state tax purposes.
I'm sorry, treated as an S corporation, what?
For IRS and state tax purposes. That generally means that the corporation itself does not pay tax on its net income, but instead that net income is transferred over to the individual's personal tax return, and they pay any income taxes on the income earned by that corporation.
Is that called pass-through income?
That is.
And is pass-through income generally, based on your background as a CPA, is that beneficial because you avoid double taxation if it goes through the corporation itself?
That's correct.
And that tax benefit results generally to the individual in terms of tax savings.
That's right.
With respect to all of the tax returns that you prepared for the Grossmans personally and for the business entities, did you use a computer program to assist you?
Yes, we do.
What's that called?
It's called CCH Access
And for how long have you been using that program?
for more than 20 years.
And that's a program that you believe is accurate and reliable,
Yes,
accepted in the industry of public accounting or in the industry of accounting.
it's one of the leading tax preparation programs.
And that's a program that you use both for the Grossmans personally and for the business entities.
That's correct.
And with respect to the Grossmans tax returns personally, when they were filed as Peter and Rebecca Grossman married, filed jointly?
Yes,
And aren't there options when you're filing a tax return to do, married filing separately?
that would be an option, yes.
Is there another option where, what are the other options that you can file?
The options would be single. It only applies if you're unmarried. There's an option of head of household that, again, you would be unmarried to file that. So if you're married, it would be married filing separate or married filing jointly.
And for all of the years that you've represented the Grossmans individually and with respect to their business entities, every single year they filed their returns, married filing jointly?
That's correct.
And with respect to occupations that they identified in their tax returns, their personal tax returns, Peter Grossman identified himself as a physician,
I believe so.
and Rebecca Grossman identified herself as a producer/writer.
I would have to look at the tax return to confirm that. I don't know that information.
Would doing so help refresh your memory?
It would.
All right. Can you just publish to the witness and counsel and his honor 425, exhibit 425-14? It should come up on your screen. If it doesn't, sir, I have a hard copy binder. Okay. All right, sir, can you see it on your screen?
No, the screen's black right now.
You can't see. You're going to approach with a binder.
Yes. There's some personal things we want to put up right now. I think the court could see.
It was there momentarily.
You do it again because it popped up and then came down.
It's like Social Security first.
Right.
See on Social Security.
Got it. You need to unplug this thing.
Oh.
Let's just give him the mic.
Okay.
Just give him the mic.
Let's, you're on that page. All right, so, sir, do you have 425-14 there?
Yes, I do.
All right, and in looking at it, does it refresh your memory as it relates to what occupation Rebecca Grossman identified herself as?
Yes, it's listed as producer/writer.
And do you have any knowledge or understanding of what she meant by that?
No, I don't. I'm not sure that. I don't have any recollection of ever discussing that or asking if it was up to date or should be changed. It doesn't impact the income taxes paid.
Understood. And you had mentioned that with respect to the end of your representation of the Grossmans, do you have any knowledge or understanding of why it ended?
They hired other new accountants.
All right, but in terms of why, or they went a different direction sitting here today, do you know?
No, I don't know.
In the tax returns that you helped prepare and file for the Grossmans, did they identify savings and investment accounts?
I would have to look again further at the documents.
Okay. Are you able to, would doing so help refresh your memory to answer that question concerning their savings and investment accounts?
Yes.
All right. Sir, can you turn to, do you have exhibit 427 in your binder?
Yes.
Can you turn to 427-4?
Okay.
All right. And does that indicate any type of saving and investment account?
This page indicates their checking accounts or checking account.
The checking account with City National Bank?
Correct.
Does it identify any other savings or investment accounts on that page?
Not on this page.
All right. Can you turn to 429-83?
I don't have 429.
Okay, just remind me. Okay, sir, have you had a chance to turn to page 429-83?
Yes.
Okay, and looking at that, that helped refresh your memory about other savings and investment accounts that the Grossmans had?
Yes, this page has a reference to an investment account.
And what investment account?
An account at a brokerage
Your Honor,
firm.
this is hearsay?
I'm sorry.
Hearsay.
Oh,
Go ahead, sir.
It refers to an account at RBC.
Any other entities other than RBC?
Objection, hearsay.
Not on this page.
All right. Can you,
what is RBC?
and what is RBC?
RBC is an investment firm.
Royal Bank.
And does that stand for Royal Bank of
I
Canada?
believe so.
City National.
Owned by City National?
No, they own City National.
Other way around. They own
Switch
City
that around,
National.
RBC owns City National?
Correct. RBC owns City National.
How about, can you turn to exhibit 430-67?
$430-67?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and looking at that, does that refresh your memory about other savings and or investment accounts that the Grossmans have?
No, this page does not.
So you're on 430-67?
Yes.
How about 430-68?
Okay, yes.
I'm sorry. And in looking at that, in order to refresh your recollection about investment accounts or savings accounts, are they identified there?
There are.
Objection, Your Honor, this is hearsay. It's really not proper refreshing the recollection. There's no evidence that you knew to begin with.
Put the document, just identify both tax returns.
Doesn't-
The question?
So what accounts are identified on that exhibit 430-68?
Objection, hearsay.
There's an account listed as National Financial Services, which my recollection is an account at City National Bank. There's an account for RBC Capital Markets, so RBC we discussed. There's an account listed for Raymond James and Associates. And there's also an account referenced here at Charles Schwab.
Very good. And with respect to the tax returns that you prepared, these accounts relating to, City National Bank, National Financial Services, RBC Capital Markets, Raymond James, and Charles Schwab's, do the tax returns show the outstanding balances of those accounts?
No, they do not.
What do they typically show
They-
in a given taxable or tax calendar year?
They'll show the taxable interest and dividends that were earned that need to be reported.
And that type of income from those accounts, are they reflected in the gross income number in a tax return?
Yes.
And with respect to the joint returns that you prepared and filed on behalf of Peter and Rebecca Grossman, did they also reflect real property assets?
Not, we need a little clarification on that question.
Sure. Do they reflect interest paid on real property?
Mortgage interest, yes.
And real property and referring to mortgages, is that referring to homes?
Yes.
And in particular, do the tax returns that you helped to prepare for the Grossmans personally, do they identify mortgage interest that was deducted?
Yes.
And sitting here right now, do you have a memory of any of the amounts in a given year for the mortgage interest that was deducted from their tax returns?
No, I do not.
All right. Would looking at a tax return that you prepared help refresh your memory in that regard?
Yes.
All right. Can you, I think, grab your first binder and go to 425-22? Yes.
Okay.
All right. And in looking at that, sir, does it help refresh your memory about home mortgage interest that was deducted along with real estate taxes paid
Yes.
Vegas to time.
in the year of 2020?
Yes, it does.
All right. And in refreshing your memory, what was the mortgage interest that was deducted in 2020?
Here's the
$28,527.
Was that the mortgage interest or the real estate taxes?
That's the mortgage interest.
Okay. And then what about the real estate taxes?
objection, Your Honor, relevance as well. Hearsay relevance.
The real estate taxes are $48,474.
Let me ask you questions about gross income. What is it?
Gross income is generally going to be all of your income before any deductions.
And for individuals, that includes wages and salary?
Yes.
And includes, does it include investment income from interest and dividends?
Yes, it does.
Does it include rental income?
Yes, it would.
Does it include income from pensions and annuities?
Pensions and annuities, potentially annuities, pensions, yes.
And does it include income received from S corporations?
It would, I wouldn't describe it as income received from S corporations, but describe it as income reportable from the S corporation.
And with respect to the year of 2020, for the gross income of Peter and Rebecca Grossman sitting here today, do you recall what that gross income amount was?
Not without looking at the documents.
Would that doing so help refresh your memory to answer that question?
Yes.
Can you kindly turn to 425-16?
Okay.
All right. And in looking at that page of that exhibit, does that help refresh your memory about the gross income for the Grossmans for the year 2020?
Yes, it does.
And what is that number?
Objection, relevance, and hearsay.
There's an amount reported here on line 11 called adjusted gross income of $1,167,192.
And you referred to adjusted gross income. Isn't there an entry for just gross income?
There's a line total income, not a line gross income.
Okay. What's the total income for the year 2020 for the Grossmans?
Same objections.
$1,181,646.
What's the difference between total income and adjusted gross income, or AGI?
Typically, there can be some small, or could be small or large. There can be some deductions or additions between the two numbers. In this case, there is a difference.
So which of the two, total income and AGI, which reflects the deductions that you're describing?
The AGI, the adjusted gross income, is after the deduction in this case.
And what generally are the deductions that are considered when you're discussing AGI?
We'd have to look at the schedule and the tax return.
But and if it's separate and apart from specifically the Grossmans generally as a CPA, what typically is considered when you're analyzing or discussing AGI in terms of deductions?
It could be for contributions to an IRA account or some sort of health insurance deduction.
All right. Sir, do you recall or know the total income or AGI for the Grossmans for the year 2021?
No, I don't.
We're looking at that tax return for that year. Help refresh your memory.
Yes, it would.
All right. Can you kindly turn to 427-10?
Okay.
All right. And are you able to find the total income and AGI for the year 2021?
Yes.
Is your memory now refreshed?
Yes.
Can you kindly tell us what the total income was for the Grossmans in the year 2021?
Objection, relevance, and hearsay.
Total income is $1,339,519.
How about, what was the AGI for that year?
It's $1,330,719.
Do you recall what the Grossmans' total income was for 2022?
No.
With looking at that year's tax return that you prepared, help refresh your memory?
Yes, it would.
All right. Can you kindly turn to 428-18? Let's go through every one of these.
Okay.
All right, sir, were you able to refresh your memory as it relates to the year 2022?
Yes, I am.
And refresh your memory, what was the Grossman's total income for that year?
In 2022, it's $1,389,611.
And what was the AGI for the Grossmans in 2022?
$1,375,446.
Do you recall what the Grossman's total income was in the year 2023?
No,
Or do you recall what their AGI was in that year?
no.
And would looking at that year's tax returns help refresh your memory to answer those questions?
Yes.
Can you please turn to 429-15?
Okay.
And looking at that and refreshing your memory, what was the Grossman's total income in the year 2023?
$1,950,000.30. 1950030.
And what was their AGI, their adjusted gross income in 2023?
$1,907,965.
How about with respect to the year 2024? The year 2024, that's the last tax year that you prepared for the Grossmans?
That's correct.
All right. For the year 2024, do you recall what their total income was for that year?
No.
Same question with respect to their AGI?
Correct. No.
And looking at that year's tax returns, refresh your memory about those two totals?
Yes, it would.
Could you please turn to 430-8?
Okay.
All right. And refresh your memory in that regard with respect to 2024. What was the Grossman's total income for that year?
Objection, hearsay, and relevance.
$1,053,283.
All right. And what was their AGI for 2024?
$1,001,674.
And so with respect to those 5-year totals as it relates to total income, that's about $6.9 million.
I didn't keep track.
Okay. Does that sound like a reasonable estimate?
Objection, vague,
It's the same.
foundation.
The numbers will speak for themselves, right?
Correct.
Okay. With respect to the gross income, or strike that, with respect to the total income from 2023 to 2024, 2023 it went from 1.95 million to 2024 went to 1.053 million. Sitting here right now, do you have any knowledge or understanding of why that drop or change occurred?
Objection, foundation, speculation.
It's not something I could explain without looking back at all of the documents.
But independent of having to do that, do you recall any explanation provided by Mr. or Mrs. Grossman in that regard?
No.
How about with respect to in 2024, do you recall what the W-2 wages were that were reported for that taxable year?
We'd have to look at the document here.
Did that help refresh your memory in that regard?
Yes.
Could you kindly turn to 430-85?
Dash, whatever,
430-85?
dash 85?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory at all about what the W-2 wages were in 2024?
This page has a total of $1,272.
Sitting here right now, do you have any knowledge or understanding of why that number is that number for that year?
Objection, foundation, speculation.
Only that was the amounts reported on the W-2s.
And when you got that information from the W-2s, you yourself didn't undertake to reach out to Peter or Rebecca Grossman to ask them, why this number was, potentially different than the other numbers, the W-2s that were reported in prior years?
Motion calls for hearsay.
I don't recall having that discussion.
And with respect to all of the tax returns that you produced in response to our subpoena, those are tax returns that you personally were involved in preparing and filing?
Yes, that's correct.
And in those binders, exhibits 425 to 430 that you've been looking at and reviewing, are all of those true and accurate copies of those tax returns that you were personally involved in preparing and filing relating to Peter and Rebecca Grossman?
Yes, they are.
Let me ask you,
Is there anything else in terms of marking? Just read it into the record. That means that all the list. Go through each one.
all right, with respect to the business entities, the tax returns that you filed for those entities, did you, as it relates to the filing procedure and process for the personal tax returns, do you do the exact same process with the business tax returns?
Yes.
And with respect to getting, the work product or the data and the information of the business entities that you were preparing the tax returns for, would you get that from Roy Pasco?
That's correct.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, it would have been from Roy.
Okay. Would you ever get them from Peter and Rebecca Grossman, or Peter or Rebecca Grossman?
No.
Let me ask you some questions about the business returns. Let me just ask the question. With respect to the business entities that we were talking about earlier, specifically the Grossman Burn Center LLC, the Grossman Burn Center Kansas City Inc., the Grossman Medical Group Inc., and Grossman Plastic Surgery Inc., and the Grossman Surgery Center Inc. Sitting here right now, do you recall what their gross profits were in any given year that you filed their returns?
No, I don't.
Okay. Would looking at the actual returns themselves help refresh your memory in that regard?
Yes.
No, I'm just going to do like 1 year, right? Okay. All right. So I want to ask you first about the Grossman Plastic Surgery, Inc. That's 455.
Your Honor, I'm going to object on this line of questioning with this witness because he's testified he has not prepared them, so no foundation.
Well, let me lay a foundation. Okay. Sir, did you, in your professional capacity as a CPA, prepare tax returns for the Grossman Plastic Surgery, Inc.?
Yes,
Did you do it also for the Grossman Surgery Center, Inc.?
yes,
Did you do it for the Grossman Burn Center, LLC?
yes,
Did you do it for the Grossman Burn Center, Kansas City, Inc.?
yes,
Did you do it for the Grossman Medical Group, Inc.?
yes,
And you did it for the years 2020 to 2024, including 2024. True?
correct, that's true.
All right, let me ask you first about the Grossman Burn Center, LLC. Do you recall what that entity's gross profit was in the year 2024?
No, I don't.
Would looking at the tax return for that year, the Grossman Burn Center LLC help refresh your memory as it relates to that particular question?
Yes,
All right, Your Honor, may I approach? Yes, thank you. Okay, sir, can you turn to 440-6?
okay,
All right. And in looking at that particular page of that exhibit, does it refresh your memory about what the gross profit was for the Grossman Burn Center LLC in 2024?
yes, it does.
And what was it?
Objection foundation, hearsay, irrelevant.
It was $1,431,643.
How about with respect to the, well, let me just stay with the Grossman Burn Center. In all of the years that you prepared the tax returns for the Grossman Burn Center LLC, okay, from 2022 and including 2024, would those returns also have the gross profit of that entity for that particular year?
Yes, they would.
Okay, how about with respect to the Grossman Burn Center, Kansas City, Inc.? Do you recall what the gross profit was of that business in the year of 2024?
No, I don't.
Would looking at that particular tax return help refresh your memory of
Yes.
that amount for the year 2024?
Yes, it would.
Could you kindly turn to 445-7?
Not in this book.
You gotta make sure you know.
And before I ask you on that, when you're doing business in another state, okay, do you have to file a tax return in that particular state?
Yes, you would.
All right. In all of the years that you were representing and doing the tax returns for the Grossmans personally and for their business entities, did they ever operate in, did any of the entities operate in different states?
Yes, they did.
Which one?
Missouri. Yeah, they're, again, without looking at the records, my recollection is another state also.
Okay. And with respect to at least Missouri, was that relating to the Grossman Burn Center, Kansas City, Inc.?
Yes,
would you separately, you personally, would you file a tax return for that entity in Missouri?
Yes,
And do you still have those tax returns?
do I have archived copies of the returns? Yes.
Yes. Okay. Have they been, to your knowledge, have those been produced to date?
I didn't produce any, I was not asked to produce any business tax returns.
All right. With respect to the business tax returns for the entity in Missouri, okay, the Grossman Burn Center, Kansas City, Inc., would the California tax return for that entity have the same gross profit number as the tax return for the same entity filed in Missouri?
Objection, foundation, speculation, relevance.
Over. If there's also a California tax return, it would have the same gross profit.
There is.
You don't file.
Not for the business, you file one or the other.
All right, let me go back to the Grossman Burn Center, Kansas City, Inc. for the year 2024. Can you turn to 445-7?
Okay.
And in looking at that, did it help refresh your memory about what the gross profit was of that entity in 2024?
Yes.
And what was it?
$1,703,764.
Does your binder have Exhibit 450 in it?
Yes, it does.
All right, before you turn to it, how about in the year 2024, what was the gross profit for the Grossman Medical Group, Inc.?
I'd have to look at it to know.
To refresh your memory?
Yes.
All right, can you kindly do that and turn to 450-7?
Okay.
All right, and in looking at that particular page of the exhibit, did it refresh your memory of the gross profit for that entity in 2024?
Yes, it does.
And what was it?
$2,797,825.
Now, how about with respect to the Grossman Plastic Surgery, Inc. in 2024? Do you recall what the gross profit was of that entity?
I don't.
All right, looking at that particular tax return, refresh your memory in that regard?
Yes, it would.
All right, can you kindly turn to Exhibit 455?
Yeah, not everyone. Which page?
455-7?
Okay.
All right. And did that, looking at that particular page of the exhibit, help refresh your memory in that regard?
Yes, it does.
All right. So what was the gross profit for the Grossman Plastic Surgery, Inc. in 2024?
$1,134,316.
Now, how about with respect to last entity, the Grossman Surgery Center, Inc.? Do you recall what the gross profit was for that entity in 2024?
No, I don't.
All right. With looking at that year's tax return, help refresh your memory in that regard.
Yes.
Can you kindly turn to 460-7?
Okay.
All right. And in refreshing your memory, sir, what was the gross profit for the Grossman Surgery Center, Inc. in the year 2024?
$276,284.
And so with respect to all of the business tax returns that you helped to prepare and you filed with the IRS as it relates to the Grossman Burn Center, that's exhibits 436 through 440 for the years 2020 to 2024. Those are the exhibits that we looked at and discussed so far in your testimony today.
Okay. Yes.
All right. And are they true and correct copies of those tax returns that you personally were involved in preparing and filing?
They definitely appear to be, although I didn't produce them, but they appear to be.
And I said, remind me, that's what the variant for all. Okay, and then with respect to the tax returns for the Grossman Burn Center, exhibits 441 through 445. So 441, that's for the year 2020. 442, that's the year 2021. 443 is 2022. 444 is 2023. 445 is 2024. All of those exhibits relating to the Grossman Burn Center, Kansas City, you were personally involved in creating those tax returns and filing them with the IRS?
I don't believe we've looked at all of those tax returns today, but we certainly prepared those tax returns for all of those years.
And you filed them once they were signed off by the Grossmans and signed off by you?
Correct.
And then with respect to the Grossman, well, let me lay a foundation. Do you have exhibits? Can you pull the binder that has exhibit 440 through 445 in it? And all I want you to do, sir, is just go through as much as you need to go through to assure yourself that those are in fact the tax returns for the Grossman Burn Center, for the Grossman Burn Center, Kansas City. So it's 441 through 445. So if you just familiarize yourself with those and tell us whether they are in fact the true and correct copies of those tax returns for that entity for 2020 to 2024.
Okay. Yes, I believe those are all the true and correct copies for those years.
Now, sir, can you kindly go to pull the binder that has exhibits 446 through 450?
Okay, I have it.
All right. And in looking at those exhibits, specifically exhibit 446, which is the Grossman Medical Group, Inc. return for the year 2020. 447 is the return for the Grossman Medical Group 2021. 448 is the return for the Grossman Medical Group, Inc. for the year 2022. 449, which is the tax return for the Grossman Medical Group, Inc. For the year 2023. And 450, which is the Grossman Medical Group, Inc. return for 2024. In looking at those exhibits before you, sir, are they true and correct copies of those entities' returns for those years that you personally prepared and filed with the IRS?
Yes, I believe they're all the true and correct copies.
Okay. Sir, can you get the binder that has exhibits 451 through 455?
Okay, I have it.
All right. And if you could kindly look at those, my questions to you are going to be whether exhibit 451 is a true and correct copy of the Grossman plastic surgery entity for the year 2020, whether 452 is the return for the Grossman Plastic Surgery entity for the year 2021, whether 453 is the tax return for the Grossman Plastic Surgery entity for the year 2022, whether 454 is the tax return for the Grossman Plastic Surgery entity for 2023, and whether 455 is the tax return for the Grossman Plastic Surgery entity for the year 2024.
Yes, I believe those are all the true and correct copies.
And they are the ones that you and Rebecca and Peter Grossman signed, and that ultimately got filed with the IRS.
These would only be signed by Peter, not by Rebecca.
Okay, understood. But signed by Dr. Grossman and ultimately signed by you and filed with the IRS.
Correct.
State too.
What?
The state of California franchise tax.
Okay.
This is.
All right, sir, could you kindly turn to the binder that has exhibits 456 through 460?
Okay, I have it.
And could you look at those? And I'm going to ask you whether those tax returns are related to, let me step back. The exhibits 451 through 455, they concern Grossman Plastic Surgery, Inc. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Going back to exhibits 456 through 460, those are the returns relating to the Grossman Surgery Center.
I can confirm after looking at them.
Yes?
You want me- I have to look at
Oh,
them.
yes, could you please do that? Thank you.
Yes, these are all the Grossman Surgery Center Inc. tax returns.
And in particular, exhibit 456 is for the year 2020.
Correct.
Exhibit 457 is for the year 2021.
Correct.
458 is for the year 2022.
Correct.
459 is for the year 2023.
Correct.
460 is for the year 2024.
That's correct.
And all of those exhibits that you just reviewed, 456 through 460, true and accurate copies of those returns that were ultimately signed by Dr. Grossman and you and filed with the IRS.
Yes.
And all of these tax returns, the personal and the business entities, in addition to being filed with the IRS, they were also filed with the state of California Franchise Tax Board.
Correct.
And I think I asked you broadly, but let me make sure I have a foundation for it. If you could kindly get the binder that has exhibits 436 through 440.
Okay.
And my question to you initially is just whether those returns, those exhibits, 436 to 440, whether they are for the Grossman Burn Center LLC.
Yes, they are.
And with respect to 436, is that for the year 2020?
Yes, it is.
For 437, that's for the year 2021.
Yes.
And 438, that's for the year 2022.
Yes.
And 439 is for the year 2023.
Yes.
And 440 is for the year 2024.
Yes.
And do all of those exhibits 436 through 440 fairly and accurately depict the returns for the Grossman Burn Center LLC that were signed by Dr. Grossman and you and filed with both the IRS and the California State Franchise Tax Board?
Yes, we do.
And then with respect to the personal returns that you produced to us, exhibits 425 through 430, you reviewed them all prior to producing them in response to our subpoena. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And exhibits 425 is the return for, strike that. Exhibit 425 is the 2020 return for Peter and Rebecca Grossman, their personal return.
I don't have that in front of me anymore. Tell me the question again, please.
Yes. Is exhibit 425 a true and correct copy of the joint tax return of Peter and Rebecca Grossman?
Yes, it is.
All right. How about can you turn to exhibit 426?
Okay.
And can you tell us whether that is a true and correct copy of the 2021 joint tax return for Peter and Rebecca Grossman?
Yes, it is.
And can you turn to 427?
Okay.
Or strike that. Can you turn to 428?
No, that's not an item.
What are you gonna do with the term?
Can you tell us what 427 is, that exhibit?
$427 is the personal individual joint tax return for Peter and Rebecca Grossman for 2021.
All right, and that's a true and correct copy of it?
Yes, it is.
Let me hand you another binder. And if you could kindly look at 428.
Okay.
And is exhibit 428 a true and correct copy of the joint tax return of Peter and Rebecca Grossman for the year 2022?
Yes, it is.
And can you turn to 429?
Okay.
And is 429 a true and correct copy of the joint tax return of Peter and Rebecca Grossman for the year 2023?
Yes, it is.
All right. And last one, 430. All right, is 430 a true and correct copy of the joint tax return of Peter and Rebecca Grossman for the year 2024?
Yes, it is.
And all of those tax returns that we just discussed, 425 through exhibit 430, those are tax returns that both Peter and Rebecca Grossman signed and that you signed that were filed with the IRS as well as the California State Tax Franchise Board?
Yes, with the proviso that Rebecca's signature was signed by Peter under power of attorney.
Okay.
For some of those years.
I'm
For
sorry.
some of those years.
But a spouse is allowed to do that to sign on behalf of another spouse?
If they have the proper power of attorney forms, they're allowed.
Oh, yeah, Jeffrey.
Oh, sir, do you know who Jeffrey Grossman is?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with it, Jeffrey Grossman?
He's Peter Grossman's brother.
Did you provide tax services to Jeff Grossman,
Yes.
specifically relating to the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust?
Yes.
Objection relevance?
Yeah. Who is, to your knowledge, who is the trustee of the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust?
Objection, relevance?
Overruled.
I don't recall off the top of my head. I'd have to look at documents.
Was it Peter Grossman?
I don't know.
Do you know, do you have any knowledge or memory of how you came to work with the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust?
Objection, foundation speculation.
Overruled.
Relevance?
We worked on it in connection with Peter's tax returns, the engagement by him, including other related tax returns.
Do you have a memory of that work that brought those entities together? Peter Grossman and Jeffrey Grossman and the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So do you recall, what's your best estimate of how many years you worked on the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust for tax purposes?
It would have been from when we were engaged in 2015 to 2024.
And was it Peter Grossman who paid for all of those tax preparation services for that entity, for that trust?
Objection, relevance?
Overruled.
I don't have the information that tells me if he paid or not.
Do you have a memory of whether Jeffrey Grossman ever personally delivered any information relating to that irrevocable trust, or was it just Peter Grossman?
Objection, foundation speculation.
Overruled.
Relevance?
I don't know.
Did you ever meet Jeffrey Grossman?
No.
Do you have any idea, knowledge, or understanding of where Jeffrey Grossman lives?
Objection, foundation speculation.
Overruled.
My recollection from my last understanding was he lived outside of California,
Is that
possibly in New York.
Is that recollection, or is that information based on what Peter Grossman communicated to you?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I don't recall discussing Jeffrey with Peter.
And do you have any knowledge or understanding of the assets or property, if any, that are owned by the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust?
Objection, relevance?
Overruled.
No, I don't have that information.
Did you ever help assist in the purchase? Strike that. Did you ever help assist in the creation of any loan documents between the Jeffrey Grossman Trust and Peter Grossman, or any entity that Peter Grossman's affiliated with?
I'm not, without looking at documents, I don't have an independent recollection of that.
Do you recall, in all of the years that you performed work relating to the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust, a loan between that trust of $1 million to Peter and/or Rebecca Grossman, or any entity affiliated with the Grossmans?
I don't have knowledge about that.
Do you recall in all of the tax returns or tax documents relating to the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust dealing with potential tax consequences of $1 million loan from that entity or that trust to Peter and/or Rebecca Grossman or one of their business entities?
Objection, foundation speculation. Relevance?
Overruled.
Again, I don't have knowledge of it.
If you're doing a loan based on your background, training, experience, if you're doing a loan, aren't you required to provide certain information to the IRS if it relates to an amount greater than $50,000?
Objection, incomplete hypothetical calls for an expert opinion. Foundation speculation. Relevance?
Overruled.
No, you're not required to let the IRS know about loans over $50,000.
If the loan has terms relating to interest that's being charged, if there's any income relating to that interest, is that typically interest that would be reflected on an income statement or a tax return?
Objection, same objections.
Overruled.
If there was interest income paid, then it would be reported on the tax return.
Are there any IRS requirements when there's loans between family members relating to interest rates being charged?
Objection, foundation speculation calls for an expert opinion. Incomplete hypothetical without all the elements.
Overruled.
Yes, there are rules around that.
Describe those.
Generally, the IRS has a rule that you have to charge a minimum interest rate that is set by the IRS and set by the IRS every month If you charge less than the IRS minimum interest rate, then you would have a gift between the two family members.
And a taxable gift, right?
A reportable gift doesn't create taxable income,
Okay, but something you need to report to the IRS?
potentially depending on the amount.
And you indicated that there's a minimum interest rate that's set by the IRS.
Correct.
Did that fluctuate month to month?
Every month, the IRS publishes the minimum interest rates.
And say, I mean, you tell us in the average month, or strike that, in the average year, how much does that interest rate typically vary month to month by the IRS?
Can you restate that?
Sure. So the interest rate, the minimum interest rate for an interfamily loan, it varies from month to month?
Correct.
So in a given month, how often, well, strike that. In the average month, what is the minimum interest rate that's required by the IRS to be charged?
Objection, foundation, speculation.
Overruled.
There's not an average, and the rates are set by the IRS, but they've been as low as less than 1% after COVID, and now they're much higher than that.
What are they now?
My recollection is the last time I looked at them in the last couple of months, they were closer to between 4 and 5%.
Okay, but at a minimum, it's somewhere between, say, approximately 1% and up to around 5%?
Sure, I mean, it's varied over time.
It's not nothing, is it?
No.
Because
never been zero.
if it's nothing, it creates that gift scenario that you described, right?
Well, there's nothing, there would be no requirement, there would be no gift either.
And if one family member gives a $1 million, they call it a loan, but there's no interest rate, would that be considered a $1 million gift to another family member?
Objection, calls for an expert opinion. It's an incomplete hypothetical without all the elements, foundation, speculation.
Overruled.
It could still be a loan. The IRS has some other rules that if there's a loan that has no stated interest rate, then the IRS requires you to impute the interest rate that they publish every month.
Did you ever do that for the $1 million loan relating to the Jeffrey Grossman 2012 irrevocable trust?
Objection, foundation, speculation, relevance.
Overruled.
I don't have a recollection of doing that.
If it's just $1 million gift, must that, strike that, if it's a $1 million gift from one family member to another, does that need to be reported to the IRS?
Same objections.
Overruled.
Yes, that would be reportable.
Why?
The IRS has a rule that you can give a certain amount of gifts per calendar year from one individual to another. It's currently $19,000 a year. It goes up based on inflation, so it's been lower in the years you're talking about. So a gift under those amounts would not be reported. A gift over those amounts would be required to be reported.
But sitting here right now, whether there was any loan, gift, or otherwise between the Jeffrey Grossman irrevocable trust, Peter Grossman, and or Rebecca Grossman, or any of their business entities that we've discussed today, do you know if any of that exists?
Same objection, Chairman.
You wouldn't typically have a gift between a trust or a business entity and an individual. Gifts are between individuals.
So would it be a loan then?
It would typically be a loan.
That you would think would be documented somewhere, true?
Same objections.
Overruled.
I don't believe the IRS requires it to be on a written document. It could be a verbal agreement between the parties,
But it requires a minimum interest rate.
or it has to be imputed if there isn't one.
Right. And that imputed amount is set, the minimum is set by the IRS.
Correct.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Just yes or no questions.
I will have questions after.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna break for lunch. That's talk about the case. Not yourself. Be back here at 1:30.